Good morning, everyone. Welcome to This Day. It is a Friday, and we're going to start a little bit of cool down today. I'll tell you about the weather in just a moment. On our show today from United, we have Sue Margolis, and then also from the Energy Task Force, we're having Steve Leonard. They're going to come on together and talk about the Energy Task Force meeting that took place just a couple days ago, and tell you some of the things that they're going to be going over and looking at in the coming months. Also, Dan Ellweiler will be here from Sterling Financial Advisors, and the topic is going about how things have shifted a little bit, how people want more peace of mind in their investments rather than trying to gain a lot of money in a short amount of time, which was kind of the mantra of the late 80s and early 90s. So we're going to talk about that. Also a segment from Capistrano Toyota, which is of course down in San Juan Capistrano. And then not too long ago, I spoke with Alexa Pratt, who is works with the Orange County Fire Authority. She's the community education specialist, and we talked about barbecue safety, which certainly is of interest to me. Now, as far as meetings today, well, there is only one, and that's third agenda prep meeting, 9:30 in the Sycamore Room. Now, let's talk about the weather. And a little bit cooler today in most areas, probably by about 5 degrees, which you'll certainly feel the difference. But then we're really going to drop down. Look at this. Over the weekend, we're going to get the fog coming back, and I think we should have some early fog tomorrow. Not too much as of yet, but as we go to Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, we're going to get more morning clouds. They're going to stick around a little bit more. And on Tuesday, the clouds are going to dance back and forth like they are there. But it's going to feel, look at that. We're going to we're way above normal to below normal. So really tomorrow, 83, 84, that's kind of normal right now. So we're going to go below normal, which is going to be wonderful. I mean, you're looking at what? In some cases, a 20-degree swing in just a few days. Let's look around California, and overall, this weekend is much cooler than it was last weekend. Average of 10 degrees cooler everywhere. So not bad at all, and a little bit more of the coastal clouds, and really this is due to a couple different things. That high pressure system is moving away. That monsoonal that brings in the monsoonal moisture, and we're going to be getting an onshore flow throughout really the state. So not bad at all. Okay, we'll be back in just a moment.
Did you know that the Laguna Hills Lodge was originally built as a place for relatives or friends to stay when they were visiting? In 1968, Laguna Woods' residents built the first 2 buildings of the lodge because they wanted a place close by for visitors to stay. Since then, the lodge has become the spare bedroom for the Laguna Woods' residents. The lodge has received the TripAdvisor Award of Excellence 8 years in a row. We invite you to stay in one of our recently remodeled garden rooms and take advantage of a special offer for Laguna Woods' residents, family, and friends.
Trust the experts at Universal Carpet for all your flooring needs. Now get 50% off pet stain resistant and hyperallergenic carpet, porcelain tile, wood, laminate, and waterproof flooring, and complete kitchen and bath remodels. Plus get 5-year 0% financing, including free installation and free furniture removal. Our convenient showrooms are just minutes away in Irvine and Huntington Beach, or call 866-402-2747 for our free in-home shopping service. Universal Carpet, the low price leader for over 20 years.
I just love that ring. Where'd you get it?
I got it at the jewelry box. I saw it on Facebook, and then I went in and bought it. They have the most unique, awesome pre-owned pieces for amazing prices.
The Jewelry Box of Lake Forest, voted best jewelry store in Orange County for 8 straight years, offering unmatched prices on fine jewelry and watches, refurbished to new condition.
Visit us in our store or shop our website for just arrived items.
The Jewelry Box. It's about trust.
Dr. Farman Cosmetic and Implant Dentistry is located right outside Gate 6 and has been keeping the village smiling for many years.
I trust Dr. Farman with all my dental procedures and all my dental work. Thank goodness I found Dr. Farman.
We have been serving the community of Laguna Woods for almost 20 years now. Come and visit us at Brilliant Smile for all your dental needs.
We are close to Gate 6, near Snooty Fox Restaurant, behind Coco's.
Welcome back. Well, we're having sort of a combined segment here today. Both are going to be talking about the Energy Task Force. We have Sue Margolis, who is with United. She's on the United board. And we have Steve Leonard here today, who chairs the Energy Task Force. They had a meeting a couple days ago. We're kind of go over that and talk about some highlights. So first, I'd like to welcome Sue.
Thank you.
And the meeting is something that is it once a month now, or is it every couple?
It's
twice a month. Yeah, that's
every 2 months.
Bi-monthly.
Oh, bi-monthly. Okay. So a lot went on at the meeting, and this really covers, when you think about the Energy Task Force, it encompasses a lot. I mean, from street lighting to charging your vehicles to air conditioning, everything, right?
Everything.
Yeah.
All the buildings, we're really worrying about everything.
Yeah.
All the energy usage in the whole village.
Yes, that's true.
The task force consists of 2 directors from each of the 3rd, United, and GRF, and there are excellent people on the board. They're chartered to identify and recommend investments in energy, technology, which is a big area, that address safety, economics, and environmental issues. So you can see it covers a huge range of things. We discussed on September 4th the car situation. We've received a report that shows that United has 66, probably more, pure electric cars and 298 hybrids. So you can see they're moving in here.
Yes.
The village as a whole has over 180 electric cars. And you'd be asking yourself, what advantage is it to have a recharging facility available in the village if you don't have an electric car? Because here we're spending money on it. Well, the charging stations will be available to your visiting relatives who may have one. And in fact, my early investigation of charging facilities was motivated by one of our United Mutual members who called me to say her son has a Tesla and where can he charge his vehicle conveniently for the trip home. In any case, for all of us who may be stuck in traffic and worried whether the gas exhaust in the car in front of us is going directly into our air conditioning ducts, seeing no exhaust pipe on the car in front of us must be a bit of a relief. So we all benefit. We have new EV chargers behind the community center that are up and running. And these were put in at a reduced cost using a grant, which gave us 75% of the money we needed to get them. There are 3 level 3s and 2 new level 2s added. The level 3 chargers will cost more. The level 2 charger rate now is 17 cents for a resident and 30 cents for a non-resident. The level 3s right now is 25 cents for a resident and 40 cents for a non-resident. So they're really very well balanced in the money. EV cars are relatively new on the market. In fact, they're use electric charge to propel themselves, so the new infrastructure has to be put in place, and that's one of the problems we have. Level 1 charging happens when you charge electric vehicle with your usual charger included with the car. It can be plugged into a standard 120-volt outlet, just like a golf cart, assuming the line supports typically 12 to 16 amps, with no other devices on the line at the time of charging. They will charge the batteries rather slow, often 4 to 6 miles per hour, so it's a slow charge. So 12 hours, you get your 48 miles, which most of the batteries, most of our driving in the area require only that. Level 2 chargers, usually purchased by the drivers or installed by the installed locally, will have the same type of plug into the vehicle, but the outlet facility needs to be a 240 volt, which is like your dryer or your stove. So these are much higher power, and they require more amperage and may charge the car in 5 or more times faster. So in 2.5 hours, you get your 48 miles. So that's why the level 2s in our area are really worth having. Level 3 chargers are only commercially available. You can't buy them for your home. And unfortunately, there's just not one standard as yet plug at the vehicle. Also, many electric cars may only be charged at level 1 and 2. The advantage is very fast charging, so there is a definite advantage. If you've paid your yearly fee and prefer to use the level 2 and 3 chargers at the community center, you can get a prorated refund now that we have enough charging at the community center. Also, many remember that if you're caught charging in your carport without an EV sticker, there is definitely a fine for that and your golf cart as well. At the time, EV car owners can only charge in the carports at level 1, and there's some problems with more than one car charging at the same time. Hopefully, we'll be able to use the extra electricity from the laundry rooms, since we replaced the water heaters to smaller and more efficient models to put in level 2 chargers within the community, not only at the community center. We know the number of electric cars will increase by over 6% per year, and that every car maker will be introducing an electric car next year. Most car makers already have more than one model. United has 19 different models already. Unfortunately, the database on the electric cars is incomplete, so we'll be working to get a complete picture by cul-de-sac in order to determine the best way to address the infrastructure. I own a plug-in hybrid, and I think it's wonderful. On the highway driving where the internal combustion may come on, I'm getting 45 to 60 miles per gallon. So you can see it's cost effective. We've had it since last November, and we've only filled the 7-gallon gas tank once, and we've driven over 5,400 miles. So you can see the cost difference. And there's very little maintenance on these cars as well, because the engine and there isn't a real maintenance problem.
Right.
We have 47 miles charged, so most of my driving is local and on electricity. We're lucky that there are 2 golf carts only in our carport, no other EV cars, so we have no problem charging it. If you're planning to buy a car, you should look into the new hybrids and EV cars. I want to report on some of the other things that were United topics. The conversion to save money by using LEDs for lighting is completed in United, so we are getting all the cost savings on that. And the future topics to be covered is we're going to install solar street lights in dark areas where there's no easy connection to power. We're looking into that. And the current electrical infrastructure and where we will increase power will be needed, where we can need to put it in. so we can get more electric cars. Do you have an electric car?
Well, my wife has a hybrid electric.
Okay.
Yeah, she has the Ford Fusion Energy. And my older daughter has the C-Max by Ford, which is, they're basically the exact same engine.
And I know you have an electric car as well.
I have the e-Golf.
So I don't, but she does. So she doesn't plug it in. Our garage is storage. And so for her to plug it in, we park outside, and she does do it now and then. But her commute is half of, and mine isn't that far. Hers is half of mine. And she'll plug it in maybe every few weeks or something, but still, even without it, because it's a hybrid electric, she's still getting tremendous mileage on it. So and I think, as we talked about here, the holy grail, so to speak, is having those available, because you're going to talk about a few other things, street lighting and HVAC systems and all. Well, the logistics of those, it may be costly or may be research and all that, but the logistics of changing out an HVAC system is a lot simpler than getting chargers and carports to the point where anybody who's moving in saying, well, I want to be able to charge my car. I don't want to drive down the street to be able to do that. I want it convenient. That's the hard part, right, Steve?
Well, I mean, we've been looking at this for almost 6 years.
Yeah.
And the level 1 charging in the carports was just designed to be a temporary.
That's right.
Because at one point we only had 2 or 3 plug-in vehicles going back 5 years ago. Now we've got 180 in just a short 5-year period of time. So you can see the adoption of this coming on, on an exponential basis. The level 2 chargers, as she said, you can put on about 24 miles of charge on a level 2 charger, depending on which vehicle you have. And then the level 3s are like 9 times. So you can put on hundreds of miles within a very short period of time.
And the level 3s are basically like at the Tesla operated charging stations.
Correct.
Am I right?
Correct.
At this point? Like the ones we're seeing out here, these are 2s, right?
No, those are 3s.
Oh, they are 3s.
Those are the 3s.
All right, but as you've said, it's not all consistent. I know the Tesla charging, their adapter is different, although they come with an adapter.
Yeah, they can use that charger.
No, not quite. They can't use the level 3s.
Okay.
Unless they buy a special adapter, which is like $450.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You can buy,
The Tesla itself does come with an adapter from a Tesla plug to what we have on the level 2s.
Okay.
So they could use those.
Okay.
On the level 3s, there's 2 different standards. There's the CHAdeMO, which is used by Kia and a few other manufacturers, and then the, I think it's the CSS is what they call it, which is used by Volkswagen and Chevy and the rest of the manufacturers. And the important thing about the level 3 chargers are that these are 62.5 kilowatt chargers.
Okay.
They can deliver a lot of electricity very quickly, but the cars that have the level 3 connections on them have their own restriction about how much power that they can process at one time. So for example, my e-Golf will only pull 36 kilowatts, even though the charger can put out that amount. The larger cars that are coming forward now will be able to take 100, 150, and even 200 kilowatts.
Right.
And the level 3 chargers that we have back here are like blade computer systems, so that we can increase them from 62 to 96 or 128 later if we have that kind of need.
Yeah,
so
and one day we'll get into the topic of figuring out the kilowatt hour, because it's confusing, because in our minds we want to think miles per gallon.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
It's 4 miles per kilowatt hour as an average kind of thing. So if you have a car that has a 50 kilowatt battery in it, 4 miles is about a 200 mile range.
Okay.
If you have a car like mine that has a 30 kilowatt battery, 30 times 4 miles is 120.
Okay.
She has 11 kilowatt battery, so she's got, or 12, so she's got about 48 miles worth of range.
Okay.
So it's, you know, it's all over the place a little bit, but you're right. I mean, people...
It is, when you look at that sticker, I know, especially on a hybrid electric, it can be very confusing.
Right.
Looking at that.
Well, because they give you some in MPE,
Yes.
MPGE,
Right.
which means basically nothing to
Right,
anybody
right.
looking at
So
it.
let's get on to, you know, you wanted to kind of go over some of the discussions you had at the task force meeting that goes beyond just the
Chargers,
plugins
yeah.
and chargers.
So we had 7 different issues or 8 different issues in oral discussions. What happens at the task force meeting is we always have are presented with a project log from staff, and that covers the infrastructure projects going on in United, Third, and in GRF, if they're energy related. So we go through that project log, and they do that in each one of the M&C committee meetings for United, Third, and GRF every time they have a meeting, but we're brought up to date, and that's how that happens. There's also a street light outage report that is generated primarily for Third, because Third bought their own street lights, and they have a contract with Siemens on that now.
Yes.
But their lighting around the walkways on the 3-story buildings, they didn't buy those street lights. They were not in the contract.
Okay.
So they're more the lights as you approach a 3-story building. So SCE is still responsible if there's a problem with those. So you have 2 different things kind of pushing and pulling there. Sue mentioned the electric vehicle report, and we're going to be continuing to work with staff on trying to get that updated in a manner that we have actual numbers rather than just ballpark.
Okay.
So that, and then in the oral discussions, the first thing we talked about was the mission statement of the task force, because there have been some policies put in by VMS regarding the acquisition of information and how that kind of works. So we had a conversation about how does the task force get the information, because we're not a board.
Right.
So we kind of went through that.
Okay.
On the EMS systems, we touched upon the Melrock presentation the last time I was here. And as a matter of fact, you have a 2-hour video on YouTube from the Melrock, the entire presentation.
Yes, yeah.
On your channel there, so that people can watch that. And the presentation had to do with having artificial intelligence systems connected into our EMS system, for example, in this building, that could constantly monitor and alert us to, it's too hot in this room, it's too cold in this room, and they could manipulate that through the cloud. You don't have to send somebody to the thermostat to go mess with it. And if there was a problem with cycling, air conditioning, fighting the heating back and forth, that an alert would be generated, and we might be able to save, what was it, in Pomona College, they said they saved 20% in their energy consumption in one building that we had. This building consumes the most energy, the community center, by far, and we're recommissioning the building now that we had the 3 new HVACs put up in July. So after that commissioning, we're talking about if we had that system here, that EMS system from Melrock, what could the savings potential be? Even if they were only 10%, if you have a bill here of $200,000 a year, that's $20,000.
Right.
The installation and the monitoring is about $4,500 a year.
Okay.
So that might make a very good basic investment. And if we could then take that to other facilities that use a lot of electricity, like Performing Arts Center or whatever, because we don't have building engineers.
Yes. Yeah.
As a university would, or a manufacturer. We also talked about the LED conversions, and Ernesto Munoz gave us an update on that, and it's still continuing. Everything has not been completed. In United, the walkway lights are done. In Third, the walkway lights are done. The 3-story buildings are done. But there's still some things in GRF that need to be accomplished. So we had a conversation about that. HVAC scheduling in the buildings and the rooms, weekday and weekend. Some weeknights, do we only have 3 or 4 people in the gym downstairs in this building? Should we rethink the hours and only have it open until 8 p.m. on class nights, Tuesdays, Thursdays, etc.? And then on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, maybe it closes up at 6 p.m. So we're not using all those resources all the time.
Right.
That's an example. Then we talked a little bit about the potential for GRF to have some solar PV. We had that report from the consultants that was brought forward, and we talked a little bit about this last time I was on. And but that was more in line of the combination of solar PV with battery systems.
Okay.
So now that we've seen those costs, we're starting to have a conversation about, well, if we take the battery component out of that and just rely on our diesel generators for backup, what would that leave for solar as a cost analysis for ROI? And is this something that'll make some sense for GRF going forward?
Okay.
So that was a little bit different. Then,
and one of the residents came forward with a plan to put a dome up with solar on it to use so that 2,000 people could go to a event, and so using the area. Always we're discussing the area behind the community center, and it was an interesting proposal of putting a dome up or a cone up so they could have musical events there and cover the roof with solar panels.
Oh, okay.
Although the discussion went to, well, is it going to cost $1 million to have an outdoor amphitheater?
Yes.
And then the other thing is, if you're just covering the stage area, you're not going to have very much surface area to have a large solar plant.
Right.
And we know from the United and the Third solar plants, which were just about 800 kW DC, which produces about 1 million kilowatts for each of the respective mutuals, right? Saving hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
If you just put a small system out there that just barely scratches the surface for this building, and you also have Clubhouse 7.
Yes.
So you probably need a megawatt system here, not a very small system.
Right.
But it was an interesting thought.
Yeah.
But it's really not for us. That's really more for GRF, Recreation Department, and CAC to sit down and say, yeah, do we want to spend $1 million to build another outdoor amphitheater?
Right.
And we all know how excited people are because we're spending $2 million to upgrade the Performing Arts Center. So hot topic kind of thing. Discuss the tennis building cooling. Richard Palmer, who's a director from GRF, who's an HVAC expert, wanted to discuss using an evaporative cooling system rather than HVAC. But as Ernesto said, the GRF board has already funded the project and approved it in its existing form. So Richard had his opportunity to talk about it.
Okay.
Car registrations, yes, that goes back to the how do we maintain accurate information on the growth of electric vehicles so we know what to do, where to put level 2 chargers in the cul-de-sacs. And then, yes, the level 2 charging in United and Third Mutuals, we're having a consultant look into that. But I think we have a pretty good idea of what we need to do and how we need to roll it out. It's just where do you roll it out and when, depending on the adoption rate of the vehicles and the densities in the cul-de-sacs. If you're going to have one car in one cul-de-sac, you're not going to put a level 2 charger in. If you have 5 or 6, then you're going to say, now there's a need.
Okay. A lot to look at, for sure.
Oh,
so your next meeting is in
November 6th, I
November
believe.
6th, is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, a lot to look at.
Do you have any questions?
You know, I think we talked about the charging thing, and I think that's, going to be the biggest issue going forward, in my opinion, because of the infrastructure needed.
You're right.
Yeah. Again, changing out an HVAC system, sure, it's going to cost this amount. You got to evaluate it, but it's a lot. The logistics of it is a lot easier.
And one of the important points of the topics is that when new owners come here to look at a place to buy, and if they have an electric car and they say, where can I charge my car? And you say, well, we don't have any place for you to charge your car, or we have limited ways that you can charge your car, they may decide to purchase somewhere else, which then adversely affects property values for the residents here. So it's just not about the convenience of people with electric cars being able to charge their cars. It's a long-range future concern.
Yeah, For sure.
And everybody has their relatives that come in and have electric cars and want to go home.
Yeah, yes.
At the end of the
and
day.
they want them to go home.
Yes.
And with these level 3 chargers, they can go back there and they can pull 50 kilowatts in an hour.
Yeah.
Well, you
which
can
will
come
get
into
them
the
200
gym.
miles.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can, you're right, you're visiting with your family.
Yeah.
Go into the gym for an hour, come back, your car's charged.
That's true. That's true.
Or even a half hour. Even if you can put on
Good.
25 kilowatts, it's 100 miles range.
Yeah.
So if you drove down from Pasadena and you have a car that has a 200-mile range, you get here, you got 100 miles. You drive back, you're at 0. You want to add something to the tank to get you back. So 15, 20, 30 minutes at a level 3 charger will do that for you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon. And we'll obviously mention again when the next Energy Task Force meeting is, but it's in November.
Good to see you.
All right. Good to see you. Bye,
Thank
Sue.
you.
Take care. We'll be right back.
At South County Lexus, we really are different. We're California's exclusive Lexus Plus dealer. Lexus Plus is a new way of doing business. At a Lexus Plus dealer, you can expect an upfront, negotiation-free, hassle-free price right on the vehicle. The same price you'll find on our website, all the way through the transaction. At South County Lexus, we feel this is the way of the future, and this is the way the customer prefers to do business. South County Lexus, your exclusive Lexus Plus dealer. Different, just like you.
At the Memorial Care Breast Center, Saddleback, you will always find a friendly face to guide you through your annual mammogram visit. Our staff, dedicated subspecialist breast radiologists, knowledge and innovative technology awaits your visit to our center. With the Laguna Woods shuttle service right at our sidewalk, this convenient location offers you quick access for your appointment. You can expect nothing but the best for all your breast health needs at Memorial Care Breast Center, Saddleback.
The foundation of Laguna Woods Village is unique in the nation in serving its senior population, our friends and neighbors, with temporary financial assistance. Your donations assist Laguna Woods residents in maintaining their quality of life by providing help with medical bills, food, respite care, Meals on Wheels, and other emergency needs. With village support, the foundation continues to help our residents. Can we count on you to donate?
Finding the right sleep solution is not one size fits all. At Revive by Living Spaces, you'll find a revolutionary process that makes the shopping experience as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Pick your pillows for proper spine alignment. 2. Select a mattress that provides the perfect comfort and support. 3. Choose the right necessities to enhance the quality of your sleep so you can recharge, relax, renew. Only at Revive by Living Spaces.
The opioid epidemic is affecting countless lives, including young adults. Did you know approximately 45% of opioid prescriptions to adolescents are made by dentists, often after wisdom teeth removal? These drugs carry risks, but you can help reduce your risk or the risk for a loved one. If prescribed an opioid, ask your dentist to consider limiting prescriptions to 3 days, using over-the-counter pain relievers, and properly disposing of unused medications. For more information, go to shatterproof.org. This has been a message from Shatterproof, United Healthcare, and this station.
And I'd like to welcome back Dan Ohlweiler. We're Sterling Financial Advisors.
Morning,
welcome,
Dan.
sir.
How are you?
Great. How about yourself?
Surviving the heat?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We're going to get cooler tomorrow, which is
well,
nice.
Hopefully. Yeah. Unfortunately, my son, he's newlywed and running an apartment and doesn't have air conditioning.
Oh.
And so every night they're over at our house till about 9 o'clock until it cools down.
That's tough.
But that's
tough.
That's fine.
So interesting topic here, and you sent me some notes here, and at the top of this article it says, the new retirement, forget being rich, all we want is peace of mind.
We've always wanted to be rich, right?
Yes, yeah, and I earlier on I had mentioned that I think really during the mid-'80s to the '90s and all, it was really about What, I'm only getting 6% on my investment? I want 15, 20%. You remember that time.
We used to have 15% CDs.
Yes.
You know, during the Jimmy Carter years when the inflation was so high, you know, those were great rates.
Yeah.
But mortgage rates were at 17%.
Right.
You know,
right.
and so you kind of have to, if you're, I've always stated that we've got a big conflict in society between the spenders and the savers, you know, and the spenders want low interest rate, the savers want high interest rate, and the spenders been winning over the last few years, you know. And so it's very difficult in retirement to get any kind of safe return in the banks or, you know, money market accounts, you know. And so, you know, it is difficult for people to say, well, do I have enough money or not, because they don't know how much interest they're going to be earning on their retirement savings.
Right.
And so it's kind of shifted from how much can I accumulate to, hey, I just want peace of mind knowing that I'm going to be secure.
Right.
You know, so there's a lot of things that come into that. I know that we've talked before about putting together an income plan that guarantees you an income stream for the rest of your life. And that kind of alleviates a lot of the concern that people had about the kind of return they're going to get on your portfolio, because if you have income coming in, that's going to pay the bills.
Yes.
And so the old mantra is, how much can I accumulate? Now it's, can I have peace of mind in retirement? You know.
Yeah, and
and a lot of that depends upon how much you're spending. You know, I had a gentleman come in yesterday, says I need $15,000 a month in order to maintain my standard of living. Well, in order to maintain $15,000 a month, you better have a good portfolio.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And so, you know, peace of mind comes with, along with how much you're spending each month. Where if you have a single person living in Laguna Woods and their place is paid for, maybe they're spending $2,000 or $3,000 a month. They can get by on $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
And they have peace of mind. If the guy needs $15,000 and he's only getting $12,000 a month, he doesn't have peace of mind.
Yeah.
And so a lot of this peace of mind in retirement is determined by your lifestyle and how much you have in order to generate that income.
Right, and a lot of times as you know we get older, or you know our lifestyle changes, you can begin to spend less for you know a very good reason, or you know one of the obvious ones, when you know you have kids out there and all, and you might want a larger car or an SUV or whatever it might be. Well, now the kids are grown. Yeah, you might have grandkids.
Yeah,
but that's up to them to have that SUV. You know, you can get by with a car at, you know, half the price and still have all the features you could ever want.
Well, and the other thing is as we start moving into retirement, generally speaking, not all the time, but generally speaking, we want to start moving from accumulating assets to protecting our assets.
Yes.
And so as you move from accumulating assets, you're not taking as much risk, and as a result of not taking as much risk, your return is going to be cut down. The biggest challenge that I have with people is getting them, their mindset to refocus on not accumulating anymore. I had a couple in yesterday that had done very well. It's always amazes me. They came over from Malaysia in 1985.
Wow. Okay.
And they had a multi-million-dollar estate. And I'm thinking about the American dream, and I told them this. I said, you've actually lived the American dream.
Yeah.
You came here with nothing, you worked hard, you saved, you sacrificed, and you've been able to accumulate a nice estate. And they said, people don't understand what they have here. You know, the opportunities in Malaysia or the Philippines or whatever isn't like it is here in the United States. And so, you know, but there says our kids are out of school now, we don't have to worry about that. We're here because we want to know if we have enough money, you know. And they had a multi-million-dollar estate and they needed, I don't know, $10,000 a month, but they had rental income, Social Security, and they were going to do just fine, but they still were in this mindset of peace of mind and do I have enough money?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They weren't concentrating as much about gaining more as they were about protecting what they have.
Yeah, and we have talked about, too, for many people, just by downsizing or leaving different areas of the country, leaving this state, moving somewhere else.
I have a lot of clients that when the kids are gone, actually it depends a lot on where the kids are, but
yes,
a lot of people move to where their grandkids are.
Yeah.
Okay, I have some clients that, you know, their kids are living in Arizona and they're living here, and they moved to Arizona, downsize, and, you know, pay for their house in cash, and now that cuts out $2,500 or $3,000 a month of mortgage payments.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that we can do in the planning process to create this peace of mind that people are looking for. They're not looking to say, okay, how much money can I accumulate? They are looking for, and part of that is due because our society has kind of moved away from what I call they're moving into what I call a pensionless society.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, people, my folks, the greatest generation, according to Tom Brokaw, all grew up with pensions.
Yes.
They would work for GM or, you know, whatever, and they would retire with a pension. Well, now they say, here's your 401k, you're in charge of your own funds. Now there are a few pensions that are out there with teachers and government workers, but generally there's, you know, they don't want to be on the hook for these payments that it could last into people's 90s as they live longer.
Yeah, originally pensions, they weren't looking, just like you've mentioned, Social Security.
Right.
They weren't looking much past maybe 70 at most.
Well, when government actuaries first established it, they used 65 as a life expectancy factor. Well, at 65 now, we're just getting started.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we've got another 25, 30 years maybe, you know.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with Social Security, when they first established it, there were 42 workers for every one that was taking Social Security.
Yes.
Today, it's 3.
Yeah.
So for every person on Social Security, we only have 3 people. And that number is moving down simply because of the baby boomers.
Yeah.
You know, the baby boomers are, 80 million of us were going to be retiring over the next decade. And they're going from paying into Social Security to collecting Social Security. So that's why there's a big concern about that. But anyway, the whole key is to create an income stream that's going to create peace of mind, not so much how much can I accumulate. And so the whole key is setting up this secure income stream, putting a plan in place. I'm meeting with a lady this afternoon that all I want to do is make sure that I have enough income to pay for my expenses throughout the rest of my life. Well, we can do that and create the peace of mind that you need. And once they do that, this volatility that they see in the stock market doesn't impact them quite as much.
And that's the key.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a great year. I mean, we've had a roller coaster ride over the last, 2 or 3 weeks, but, the market's up about 14% for the year.
Yeah, very good.
Makes up for the 10% that we lost in the last quarter of last year.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, the key is maybe at this stage in their lives, kind of reduce that exposure to risk and have a little bit more secure portfolio.
All right, and that's where you can help out.
We
and as Dan has said, if you just want to go in and talk to him for the first time and see if he and his folks there can help you, he's happy to see you. SterlingFA.com is the website. They're right up here in Mission Viejo. And if you want to give them a call, 949-859-5900.
We're right near the Social Security office, same street.
Yes.
So if people have been to the Social
Acero,
Security...
right?
Acero. So if people have been to the Social Security office, we're right there.
Okay.
Good to see you.
Yeah. You take care, and we'll be right back.
Been been working with retirees since 1984. I specialize in protecting people's money, setting up a secure retirement income stream for them, and making sure their money is there when they need it. I started Sterling Financial Advisors under the premise that we not only needed quality service for clients out there in the financial industry, but ethical standards as well. We don't have any monopoly on the investments we use. What we do have a monopoly on is the integrity and how we treat our clients.
And welcome back. With me right now is the General Sales Manager of Capistrano Toyota down there in San Juan Capistrano. I'd like to welcome Sean Mosley. Sean?
Hi, how are you doing?
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Pleasure being here.
Yeah, great to have you here today. And I think a lot of people know about Capistrano Toyota. In fact, when Sean was here and walked in, where's the baby? Right? But we all know that, the Hogans.
They're all home with the Hogans.
Yes, right, yeah. And I love the story on that. You know, that whenever they get, maybe a new offspring, they become the new face of it,
The new
right?
face of the dealership.
Yes.
Excellent.
Kids get older and they're, well, sorry.
Absolutely.
But it's great. It's a great family-run operation. And, one of the main reasons that you're here today is trade-ins on
Correct.
cars. And in this community, of course, a lot of times people maybe stop driving, or I think quite often, too, they might have had two vehicles where they used to live. They come here. They don't need that anymore. And, people wonder, what can I do with that? They would like to get top dollar for it, and this is where you step in, right?
Well, you know what? It's a great program for your community here. And what it is, we will come to them and appraise their car. A lot of people have cars that are sitting on the side that are not running or not quite ready to drive, or they couldn't drive them. And we're very, very happy to come out, give us a call. You can bring it to us. There's no pressure, and we'll be happy to come give them a number on the car, and if they like the number, we'll bring them back a check and take their car.
Now, what about older vehicles? Vehicles that maybe aren't Toyotas, or maybe they're 10, 12 years old. Will you come out or where they can bring the car there and look at anything, or do you have a certain set years?
That's the beauty of it. Any car, any model, any year. I'll come take a look at it. If everything's got a value, I'm always proud to put a number on it.
Okay, that's really good, because I think so many times people don't know what to do. They don't want to sell it themselves. That can become a hassle with the registration, license, and all that kind of thing. Now, you just said that you'll come to them. Is that right?
Absolutely. Just call our number, and we'll be happy to schedule an appointment, and we'll come to your house and take a look at your vehicle. It might take a day for us to schedule. I'll be happy to come out.
And that's very convenient, because sometimes people do not drive anymore.
Absolutely, absolutely, and we're here for the community.
So what's the process like? What do you folks look for? What do you go through? Like you said, it might take a little time, a day.
Well, what we do for our process, we're happy to go ahead and take your name and number if you want us to come to your home.
Okay.
If you want to come to the dealership, we're available all the time.
All right.
But I want to take time out and do the job right for you. So what I'll do is I'll schedule the appointment for the following day. I'll come see you at a certain time that we set up. I'll be happy to look at your car and give an appraisal, see how it runs, the body, things like that, much like I would if I'm buying your car personally.
Okay.
And we're very fair on our prices. So I look at Kelley Blue Book and how it runs and everything, and we want some cars. And I know they have some great cars out there in your community that we could use.
And this is so even if they're not going to buy from you. They're not trading in a car. You're talking about, hey, I don't need to drive anymore. I don't want another car.
No obligation. You don't have to buy our car. We would love you to sell you a car.
Sure, of course.
But if that's the case and you want to buy a golf cart, it's all good.
All right. Now, what about if they have a loan balance on the car?
Well, that's the other part too. We'll be happy to pay off that loan balance. We'll give a figure. For instance, if it was $5,000 for your car and you had a $2,000 payoff, we'll give you a net check for $3,000 and pay the vehicle off.
Okay. So again, they're not worried about that. You get their information, who their finance company was for that vehicle, and you take care of it then.
That is correct. I'll call for the payoff. I'll give you the totals, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Hey, I have a question.
Sure.
And I'm going to throw you a little curveball here, only because what if someone has a personalized plate on that car, and they want to keep it or maybe transfer it to the other cars. Can you folks help with that? I know that's not something that's on your list here, but I was curious because I have a personalized plate.
We have a DMV at our dealership. We'll be happy to go ahead and transfer the plate. And if you want to cancel a plate and keep it, we'll file a cancellation for you, and I'll bring your plate back to you along with your check.
All right, that's good, because I know people who like to do that. They want to keep it just even if they don't drive anymore. It's like
it's sentimental.
Like yeah,
of course.
It is. I have a plate from years and years ago from an old vehicle that I love. So even though I don't use it anymore, I'd like to keep it. Well, Sean, with a big weekend coming up, someone can come down there and either see about selling their car to you or maybe purchasing a new one.
That's right. Come down anytime. But I want to tell you, every weekend's a big weekend at Capistrano Toyota. If you come down to the dealership, we're having great sales right now. If you wish to buy a car, I tell you what, we have the best selection of the year. And Toyota is very aggressive about financing. We have rates as low as 0% on some of the vehicles.
Wow.
And we have rebates up to $4,000.
Wow.
So you know
Very
what?
good.
Talk about a great time to buy a car.
Yeah, and of course with Toyota, you really run the gamut from if you just want a smaller personal vehicle to all the way up to a Tacoma and so on.
We have a car or truck for everybody's needs.
Yeah, Toyota certainly does, don't they?
Absolutely.
Now, what about, some people want to come down and some people want to purchase, some people want to lease, and that's something you can help out with, maybe talk through what's the differences?
Well, what we do at our dealership, we go ahead and we set up so you can see both what a lease would be and what a purchase would be for that vehicle that you have chosen. And we're happy to work up on multiple vehicles if you'd like. And then you can choose and pick your payment accordingly.
Yeah, that's nice. So if people are going, I can't decide between this model with this trim or whatever, you'll work up possible deals for all of them, and then they can pick and choose what they want.
That is correct. The only pressure at our dealership is in the tires.
Very good. I like that one. And again, if people have a vehicle that you no longer are using, you'd like to sell, they will help you out with that. The website, very easy, capitoyota.com, and the number is 949-276-6886. And Sean's down there, along with all the folks down there in Capistrano Toyota to help you out. And I've been down there myself. It's a nice experience.
Give us a call or come in and see us and come say hi.
Yeah. Sean, thank you very much for coming on. Pleasure to meet you. Hope to see you again.
I'm sure you shall.
Next time, bring one of the babies, maybe.
I probably will, and some donuts.
Oh, donuts. There you go. All right, we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm John Bowser Bauman. You probably know me best as Bowser from Sha-Na-Na, but I'm also president of Social Security Works PAC. And you know, when I'm in Laguna Woods, I always watch Village Television. Grease for peace.
And our movie today is from 1966. It's called The Group. And interesting that it takes place in 1933. And it's about 8 young women who are close friends and members of an upper-class group at South Tower College. They graduate and start their adult lives together. And the film documents the years between their graduation and the beginning of the Second World War in Europe, and shows in serialized style their romances and marriages and searches for careers or a meaningful life. And it stars Candice Bergen, Joan Hackett, Elizabeth Hartman, Larry Hagman is in this, and I can't think of the name, Hal Holbrook, who we just saw there. So a lot of different people are in this, big, huge cast. And it's a long movie, it's 2.5 hours. So we bring that to you at 2 o'clock and at 7 o'clock. Then on Monday, a real heartwarming movie, it's called A Dog's Journey. And this is the sequel to the popular hit A Dog's Purpose that came out, I want to say I think it's been about 2 or 3 years now. And it's about the beloved dog Bailey. He finds his new destiny and forms an unbreakable bond that will lead him and the people he loves to places they never imagined. And this was just, I haven't seen this one, but the first movie was very, very good. We showed that a couple times here. And that will be on Monday and runs about an hour and 50 minutes. So there you go. And just a lot of good movies coming your way this month. We have, at the end of the month, we have Aladdin, which is the new version of it, the live action version. But we also go back in time and we have the original Mary Poppins that we're going to show at the end of the month as well. And we have Forrest Gump coming up in about a week. So I love that movie. We were not long ago, we went to Bubba Gump's, the restaurant in Long Beach, and it was actually really good food. All right, coming up next week, September 12th, the Korean American Club is going to be having their Arirang Festival. This showcases Korean culture, and their proceeds are going to go to the foundation of Laguna Woods Village. So that's going to be really nice. Over at the Performing Arts Center, it's $10 per ticket, and you can buy tickets there now. I understand they're going to have some food there as well, a lot of good dancing and music, a lot of fun. That will be Thursday, September 12th. So if you'd like to go to that, get your tickets now at the Performing Arts Center, and it will be a good time. They always sell out for that. Also, the Old Pros on September 12th are going to be having their meeting, but they're also going to be having this, well, it's kind of a reading, and it's from this book that they're going to be doing called, I think it's called the Guernsey. I have to look back and look at it. The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. There you go. And we had a couple of the Old Pros on yesterday talking about this. This will also be September 12th, and you're invited to go to that. It's at 4 p.m. and at Clubhouse 7. So you can go to that and then go to the Korean Festival later on in the evening. All right, let's get to the weather. A little bit of a cool down today, but a lot of cool down this weekend. We're going to get that fog coming back, which is wonderful. And I am really looking forward to that. A little bit cooler temperatures out there by far. Really, you're looking at, in some cases, a 15-degree, maybe even a 20-degree drop from what we had last weekend. So what we've just been having, the humidity will drop. We'll get the fog coming back. I have it tomorrow. We'll see if we get early fog. One forecast showed that we should have a little bit of fog tomorrow morning, but definitely tomorrow night, overnight, Saturday into Sunday, we will certainly have it. So that's good news, isn't it? All right. Let me tell you about Monday, what's coming up. We're going to get a report from Third Mutual, also the Village Library. Eileen Orvway will be here. And we're going to have somebody from the toll roads here. You know, they're going what they call their stick and go event, which is they're going from the transponders to these RFID tags that you put on your windshields. I already have one of those, but we'll get somebody on and talk all about that. All right, you have a really good weekend. Take care. Bye.